Imagine a world where every punch was scripted, every title bought, and every champion owned. Welcome to boxing's darkest secret, a game controlled by the Mafia. Stick around, because what you're about to discover will blow your mind. Hey, fight fans, I'm your host, and today we're stepping into the ring with history. This is the Mafia's grip on boxing, how it shaped the sport. We're diving deep into a scandalous past that could change how you see every jab and knockout. Hit that like button if you're ready, and let's get started. It all began in the 1920s, but the 1950s marked the Mafia's true takeover of the sport. Enter Frankie Carbo, nicknamed Mr. Grey, a mob enforcer with a shadowy grip that turned boxing into his personal playground. This wasn't just a fan in the stands. Carbo was a kingmaker, orchestrating champions from New York to Las Vegas with a network of bribes and threats. Historians estimate he influenced over 20 title fights, pulling strings in smoky backrooms where deals were sealed with a handshake or a gun. Picture the scene. Fighters summoned to meet mob bosses, pressured to throw matches for a shot at glory or a bigger paycheck. One of the most infamous cases was Jake LaMotta's 1947 bout against Billy Fox. LaMotta, the Raging Bull, later confessed he took a dive, on Mafia orders, to secure a middleweight title opportunity. The fight was a travesty. LaMotta barely threw a punch, stumbling around the ring as the crowd erupted in boos. The Boxing Commission launched a frantic investigation, nearly shutting down the sport, but the damage was done. LaMotta himself said in a 1960s interview, "I had no choice. They had my family in their sights." Why would a tough guy like him agree? It was the promise of a title shot, and the chilling threat of violence if he refused. The money trail led to mob-controlled promoters who skimmed millions, turning boxing into a rigged casino. Let that sink in for a moment. The sport you love was once a mobster's game. Let's fast forward to the 1960s and the heavyweight division, boxing's ultimate prize, where the Mafia's influence hit its peak. Sonny Liston, a menacing knockout machine with a criminal past, was the Mafia's golden goose. They bankrolled his rise, and whispers suggest they rigged his 1962 title win over Floyd Patterson with threats and bribes, ensuring their man sat on the throne. But then Muhammad Ali, then Cassius Clay, burst onto the scene and everything changed. Ali was no ordinary fighter. Young, charismatic, and soon converting to Islam, his growing popularity and later opposition to the Vietnam War draft made him a wild card the Mafia couldn't control. They needed to keep him in check, to ensure this outspoken champ didn't disrupt their betting empires or challenge their authority. In their 1965 rematch in Lewiston, Maine, Ali delivered a first-round knockout with a punch so fast it's called the Phantom Punch. The crowd barely saw it land. Replays show a flicker of movement, and Liston hit the canvas. Conspiracy theories abound. Some say the Mafia ordered Liston to lose, installing Ali as champion under their thumb. Why? A controlled Ali, facing legal pressure from his draft stance and potential blacklisting, could be manipulated with threats or financial leverage, preserving the mob's dominance over the sport. Ali himself hinted at this in later years, saying, "They wanted me to play their game, but I wasn't their puppet." Others argue it was Ali's skill shining through, a moment of genius that defied the odds. The debate lingers. Was it a fix to keep Ali in line, or a fluke of fate? Take a second to think about it. The Mafia's reach didn't stop at the ring. They silenced anyone who threatened their grip with ruthless efficiency. Take referee Arthur Mercante, a respected official in the 1950s. He suspected foul play in several bouts and started asking questions, documenting irregularities in scorecards. Soon after, he received anonymous threats, phone calls in the dead of night, warnings to back off or face the consequences. His career teetered on the edge, and he later admitted he lived in fear for years. Then there's Barney Ross, a former lightweight champ who spoke out against the mob's influence in the 1930s. Rumor has it he was blacklisted, his name erased from title contention, and some even suggest he narrowly escaped a hit. The mob used fear as a weapon: lose a fight or lose your life. Boxers lived under constant pressure, knowing a wrong move could end them or their families. In 1959, the Senate held explosive hearings, a televised spectacle where witnesses testified about bribes, threats, and even murders tied to the sport. One witness, a small-time promoter, broke down on camera, revealing how Carbo's men forced him to rig fights or pay with his life. The hearings led to Carbo's eventual conviction, but did it end there? Some say the Mafia just went underground, adapting to new ways to influence boxing from the shadows, perhaps through offshore betting or silent partnerships. It's a chilling thought. Could this hidden hand still linger today? By the 1960s, the heat was on, and the sport began to fight back. The FBI stepped in with the RICO Act, a groundbreaking law that dismantled Carbo's network and sent shockwaves through the underworld. Agents raided mob hangouts, seizing records that exposed a web of corruption stretching from fight purses to casino profits. Boxing commissions tightened regulations, introducing random drug tests and stricter promoter oversight. Promoters like Don King, with his flamboyant style and questionable ties, faced intense scrutiny. Some say he narrowly escaped similar charges. The sport started to clean up its act, with organizations like the WBC pushing for transparency, and modern technology, like live streaming, adding a layer of accountability. Fans can now watch every move in real time. But scandals like the 2020's match-fixing probes, where underground betting rings were linked to suspicious outcomes, remind us the Mafia's shadow hasn't fully faded. Has boxing truly cleaned its gloves, or is this just a better cover-up? It's a question worth pondering. Maybe the mob has evolved, hiding behind digital screens instead of smoky rooms. Fighters today have more control over their careers, negotiating better deals and speaking out against corruption. But the past serves as a stark reminder. Power can corrupt, and history has a way of repeating itself. What safeguards would you introduce to keep the Mafia out for good? Stricter financial audits to track promoter funds, mandatory background checks for everyone involved, perhaps a global task force to monitor betting patterns. I've been thinking about this myself. Maybe a public whistleblower hotline could empower fighters to report threats safely. I'd love to hear your ideas, so let's get that conversation started. And that's the final bell on the Mafia's grip on boxing. From fixed fights to fearless comebacks, we've uncovered a saga that shaped the sport we love. If this hooked you, smash that subscribe button, leave your hottest take in the comments, and ring that bell for more. Until next time, keep swinging. See you in the ring.